Hey, welcome, beautiful beings. Welcome, welcome. Um, Another gorgeous, beautiful Monday morning here in Santa Barbara. And my subconscious loves to create a challenge every Monday. And I won't tell you the kitchen one, but suddenly Zoom is asking, for you know, sign in verification codes out of the blue, and somehow it's not getting through to my email. But we did a workaround, and it's saying that my did say for a moment that internet was unstable. So just let me know if there's some kind of issue here. So that said, welcome today to the mind of God. And definitely, I started laughing. I'm having conversations with the mind of God and saying, really? Is this how you want it to all roll? So I'm having to I'm having to deal with those kind of questions on the quantum. Anyway, you know, okay, we're gonna just let someone else the cosmic choke. Yes, yes, Lulu, it's a cosmic choke. Okay, so we are moving forward here. So we're going to make some statements here. In this, to the best of our ability, these are statements are true. There is no universe without imagination. We're moving forward in the day because we can imagine what the day is going to be. We imagine, oh, I'm going to walk out to my car, it's going to open, and I'm going to fly about in it and do whatever I need to do. So there is no universe there or here without our imagination, and there's no imagination without the mind, and there's no mind without consciousness. Someone who's just passed doesn't have their mind here. They may have their consciousness there, wherever they are beyond the body, but there's no mind without consciousness. But sometimes we're very unconscious in our use of mind. And that's because there's an aspect of the mind that's ego mind. And ego mind has got some, shall we say, in my humble opinion, it's got some misconstrued tenets that it's taken on. It's been programmed. Um, of course, our parents did the best to say you've got to do these, types of things to survive. Um, but we're not programmed from the beginning to be linked and conscious with what's beyond the ego mind. So the ego mind really is going to generate thoughts all day. And you got to really watch out for these words, not enough, especially I'm not enough, or anything that intimates that. Using the word always and never, they're tricky. And especially if you're saying them to someone else, you always do this, you never do that. You're limiting them, but you're also limiting yourself by using those words. Can't, scared, wrong, should, won't. You know, these are really interesting. These are really interesting vernacular points that have been inserted into us. And I don't always think that it's our true, it's not our true selves speaking to us. So what I'm noticing, in all this, my intent is to awaken fully. And so when you have a strong intent, that's like the intent, it's going to contradict whatever is still not fully awake, right? In the unconscious. So the unconscious is going to just, push stuff up. And sometimes there are going to be things that are just minutia and you just want to scream. And sometimes it's going to be really deep esoteric things that have to do with our relationship with source and our relationship with the oneness, etc. So because we're so survival wired, it can be really a struggle to let go, right? Because we're so entrained to this matrix of control and survival. And I'm going to tell you again, I was visiting some friends and working with them. And again, that matrix of control was factoring into some things that they were working through. Um, really notably. And what I'm noticing is the beings who are really awakening. Sometimes they get hit the hardest. It's really interesting. I mean, do all humans get hit with things? Yes. I don't care how rich you are or famous or, you know, even, holistic. We just get hit with stuff. So the ego mind attaches us to time and limitation. And that's not what the story is really going to be about. So what's the way out? It's surrender. And it's sometimes it's surrender of an ideal, sometimes it's a surrender of your ego, sometimes it's surrendering to the next moment, or it's surrendering to the issue that's up and laugh. I just started laughing today as I was, trying to think, thank golly, I started early getting us online today. But, you go, well, what are we surrendering to? We're surrendering. When we really do it correctly, we're surrendering to the mind of God. So, the mind of God, I want you to think about it. And when I say God capitals, I want to take it out of that context of the male God that many of us grew up with, that version of God that's male, capital G, small O and D. So the mind of God, it's just a way to kind of hone into this aspect of that oneness that it has a directive force to it that can, when we allow it, very much move through us in an empowered and empowering way. So let's go there, okay? So I want us all, eyes open or closed. We're going to pause. I'm going to stop the mind for a moment. And you're going to stop that mind and you're going to pulse with the moment. And then you're going to allow. Okay, so we're going to practice here. And we're going to practice one moment and then another moment, another moment. Okay. So you can look at the screen or you can pick a drishti point somewhere, or you can look off into the distance. Pause the mind. Sense a pulse coming through. And again, turn the dial to tune in to this, the mind of God. And I heard the words, it's everything and everywhere. And we have found a way as humanity to stop that perception. So let's again. So just choose a moment, pause, stop the mind. So a thought comes in and you just stop. Okay, so let's try it again collectively and help each other out here. And you may sense thoughts filtering through, reminders, visions, and you nod at them and then pause again. And if you can get it right for you, you feel that pulse coming through, and it may sense as a, you may sense it as a honing intent, clarification, clarity, or benevolence. I really felt when we were all linking the benevolence of the one mind of God. And sometimes we're just going to be collecting those moments. In other words, are we going to walk through the day bringing that through us in a very consistent uh, pattern of moments? It's just practice. So you notice thought and you're turning your attention almost to nothingness and allowing that to come through the nothingness. And it's an interesting thing because what I've been doing, I've been having to do is surrender my evaluation of source, my evaluation and irritation with, I have there's a little soul ego there of, hey, you called us all down here to do this work. And what's this all about? Let's get on it. And then I have to start giggling and smiling. And because if I hold on to, you know, even higher ego, like I'm here to do a job and, let's get this stuff, then there's going to be a reminder. There's going to be a reminder. Usually it's in my body, it's in my physical body. But it's all good because we're working things through. We're working things through and we're being that pulse for the planet. So when you stop the mind, what pulses through is this mind of God because it is. And we're to realize it now. And you could put in now, any pause that you take with yourself or another person. So someone could ask you a question and you could pause and empty your mind and allow that blessing of nothingness to be the portal or the field for the mind of God to come through, either for that being or as an insight or as the pause that refreshes. And perhaps what comes through is a blessed insight for the moment that heals that person. So this is another gift to us from the mind of God to remember that we are a manifestation of the mind of God. Like, let's think about that for a moment. You and the mind of God are not separate. And you are a manifestation of itself. Gender neutral. And sometimes it comes through, little markers happen, like you might nod your head or you might smile or your eyes might get shiny. And it can just be one pause, it comes through, and now it's in. It's in your field. It's in as a point of recognition. And, we were always trained, God's up there, you're here. Certain churches, you're a sinner. Back in the day, I'm hoping they don't do that as much anymore, but I think they are. And, there's the rhetoric, and we're letting go of the rhetoric to have the experience of this now, this moment, and this bleed through, shall we say, as but of the mind of God. So we're the mind of God having a bleed through expression and experience of being the mind of God. How about that? And then there's a little further paradox here. I love paradoxes. You in this moment are the very manifestation creation of the mind of God. And so just be right here, right now with that. And then include the very thing that fools you into thinking the opposite, the ego mind. Because right now, in this experiment illusion, Earth, density, time, space, polarity, gravity, la la la, God is coexisting as fear, illusion, etc., to be observed. Perceive that, friends. So now as the mind of God, we perceive all as that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Again, when you pause the ego mind, you release to the mind of God. You allow you, and do you see how I put you with capital letters? To realize as the mind of God. It's a strange thing. For me, it feels like a bleed through. Like it's there. It's just I've turned the channel to ooh, illusion mode, got to get stuff done. We turn that channel to 5D, getting things done in 3D, interesting. But we turn that channel to the nothingness channel, channel 0, channel O. You allow you to realize as the mind of God. Then you allow you to see the mind of God as you. So it's this interplay where you start to awaken and self realize, like, oh, it's one thing for me to tell you and for us to think about this, but it's another thing to realize it because it's not just a mind thing. Realizing, self realizing is a whole vehicle, field, consciousness, soul. You know, wanted to say wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Like, and this path allows you to do it a little at a time without going into a cave and, being there for 10 years. It's like, don't have time. So now I want you to just contemplate this for a moment. Okay. You allow you through as you see you as the mind of God and nod. And there's a little bit of being able to own it, one particle moment at a time. And there is no ego in that. There's only practice. Mm-hmm. And this is where, then, for those moments, time becomes timelessness, embracing, like without a thought, embracing past, possible future as cognitive love. And that's where the smile comes in for me. Mhm. Mhm. When you do this, you transcend time space to become the timeless mind of God. And there's this transcend word is double entendre because you're transcending your perception of time space to realize the timeless mind of God. But I believe, I sense that when you do it, I do it, and then you, all of you do it, and then that group of you do it. We thin the veils here that much. It starts to show up around our field. I think all these beautiful beings doing the work now is bringing up that really deep unconscious stuff. So we're seeing a lot of like hard to believe manifestation of what's being put out there and accepted. And then you just pause and transcend. Pause and transcend. And have those moments of timelessness in realization. Mhm. Then, as you loosen up the fabric, then you can sit down to meditate and have these moments add up to a mountain of moments. Mhm. Mhm. So we're powerful as a group. Let's do a little practice. Let's each find our comfort place in this vehicle. And this time I think it's going to be good to have eyes closed. And find the gentle, even breath. Say yes to our field. We become as that field the field of nothingness, to allow this pulse of God to come through. Mhm. And as we do, what comes through is the gift, which is that up leveling to 6D, quantum crystalline frequency. Love, 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 love. Allowing that love, 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 love really infiltrate and up leveling your beautiful crystallizing being. And then collectively, let's expand our crystallizing field into the matrix, the 560 matrix that's blooming. That's blooming. Mm. Let's feed it with our attention and be fed by its interconnective love force. And shift gently from survival to thrival. And see, feel, sense if you can experience the blessing coming through from the mind of God. And the message I'm getting is to allow this blessing to filter through to what you perceive as challenge or challenges. To soften and illuminate their possibilities. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. You might throw in a few yeses there, like yes, 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 yes. The yes of acceptance, surrender to thrival. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we bless, we bless our path here as the mind of God. We bless our path here with love, 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 which I'm starting to call the dance of love. Love, 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 love. So that there's a little sense of fun. Mm-hmm. There. Very nice, everyone. The frequency shift has happened and it is settling. Mhm. So the message I'm getting is pay attention to what shows up. And you go, that's a little different. That manifestation went easy. I just had this very creative thought. Oh my gosh, I'm totally getting. Yes, okay, I'm going to do it. Cultivate the mind of God consciousness coming through you. And sometimes reality gonna pull on you. You go and just if you can have a giggle. Go, oh my gosh, there it is. There's there's the programming. Okay. Pause, mind of God. Let's see what happens, right? And then we just proceed. One timeless moment, and then another. And it's almost as you do that, as you take the mind of God into that timelessness, it's like sweeping away the debris of the path that you have trodden to get to this moment. That's what it's all about, beautiful beings, to realize yourself as God or ONE, right? So we're going to practice this week. We're going to practice. Okay. Shifting, shifting, shifting. So, I'm going to just say, you might have emailed me things recently and you got no answer to the classes@panharmonic.com. I emailed myself today and it didn't show up. So I have to do a little tech investigation today to see what's going on. I also, if you have anything to report or if something in the past hasn't been responded to, you can go to dr.valeriegerard@gmail, dr.valeriegerard@gmail. And those for sure are getting to me. That's just straight shot. Okay, I'm going to just gather together just the glory of the blessing that came through for us. I'm really curious about how it's going to manifest this week. Very curious, like that. Being curious, especially in a tough moment with another person. Like, I wonder, yeah, what's going on with that person? Or I wonder what created this moment, or having that kind of conversation with you rewires the brain to say, I wonder. And I'm going to say, I wonder how I will easily fix my email problem. And then let it unfold. Okay, beautiful beings, gorgeous, gorgeous beings. Namaste, namaste, namaste. And we will gather again another day.